Can a simple thank you or a small note left on the fridge really be the secret stitches holding our relationships together? What's your secret stitch? Good evening, everyone. I'm Lucille, a marriage connection strategist. But before I share the art of maintaining relationships through a metaphor of crochet, I'd like for Freddie to bring up, in case you don't know what crochet is, I love crocheting. You do it with just one needle, and you can make these elaborate or simple little patterns similar to knit. So I have come up with a metaphor of crochet that correlates with the art of maintaining relationships. My journey into the fabric of relationships began in a deeply personal and somewhat painful place. Nearly 40 years of marriage have taught me about the highs and lows of companionship. My husband and I have navigated through countless challenges, financial strains, communication barriers, and the everyday trials that test the bonds of love. Each hurdle has only made our bonds stronger. But my passion for nurturing relationships doesn't stem from my successes. It's also deeply rooted in a personal saga of loss and resilience. When I was in the second grade, my parents divorced. And as a daddy's girl, the breakup didn't just disrupt my family, but it broke my heart in ways that have taken years to understand fully. Watching my mother's heartbreak and experiencing my own shattered sense of security left me with deep emotional scars. This early experience ignited a fire in me, a mission to prevent this emotional disruption for others. I am driven by a vision where every family can live out their purpose together, creating a legacy of love, financial stability, and a strong community presence. It's not just about staying together, but it's also about thriving together. Ensuring our children grow up in a nurturing and stable environment. I want every little girl and boy to have the protection of a loving mom and father in the home daily. Now let me draw the parallel that has given me much insight. Imagine me late at night with my fingers like that picture showed you there, under a dim light, working through a complex crochet pattern. Each stitch with a silent companion to my thoughts. At the same time, my relationship faced its own tangles. Miscommunications that felt as intricate and convoluted as the yarn in my hands. The parallel was too poignant to ignore. Both required patience, care, and sometimes starting over. There were often times I missed a stitch and I had to pull it out, unravel it, and go back to where I messed up. So I'm going to give you a few tips. Tip number 1 is pay attention to the small stitches. Let's talk about the small things in relationships because, honey, they're like those tiny stitches in crochet. If you miss one, you just might have to unravel your whole scarf. And nobody wants to show up to a winter with only half a scarf, especially when you're trying to impress your in-laws. So one rainy evening, as the chaos of my day poured down, I noticed a small, significant act of kindness from my husband. It was a diamond ring. It wasn't a diamond ring or a trip to Paris, but a cup of fruit and a little note. Honestly, sometimes that's all it takes to warm the heart and to make you forget that you were planning to serve him leftovers for a week because he forgot to take out the trash. But one particular stormy evening, as the rain beat down on the windows, I walked into the house and it was in disarray. The very sight that I wanted to avoid after a taxing day. My initial annoyance, I was ready to burst out with, but I noticed a small note next to a cup of fruit. And it said, "I bought you some fruit. Thought you'd like some tonight." That small note, that tiny stitch in our day, turned my frustration into gratitude. It reminded me that love is often found in the smallest of gestures. Tip number 2, don't be afraid to unravel the mistakes. Now, who hasn't dropped a stitch or two in their life's tapestry? Or in my case, nearly unraveled a whole sweater of matrimony over a heated debate over how to properly load the dishwasher. I'm right, he's wrong, just to let you know. Yes, it's true, these domestic bliss moments can turn into domestic miss moments if we're not careful. Several years into our marriage, during routine discussion about finances, a deeper issue surfaced, revealing a knot in our understanding. As we sat across from each other, our words laid bare like a knotted yarn. The tension was palpable. Each statement felt like a tug of a loose thread, unraveling misunderstandings we'd ignored for a long time. The process was fraught with stops and starts, pulling the threads of pride and communication. Yet with each unravel, we found our way back to a clearer, stronger pattern. It was a labor of love, reminiscent of correcting a critical error in our crochet work, essential for the beauty and integrity of the final piece. Tip number 3, celebrate each finished row. When you get through a row, or let's say a year of marriage, celebrate it. Don't just wait for the big anniversaries. Celebrate that we managed to watch a TV show without arguing over the remote. Those are victories. Our 20th anniversary was low-key. We reflected on our years together, laughing over the trivial spats like our infamous, the great towel folding debate. I think it should be done one way, he thinks it should be done another way. I'm right, but who cares, it's just towels. These little celebrations are reminders that our journey is just as important as the destination. We decided to celebrate it by reflecting on each year as if those rows were a crochet project. We laid out old photos, letters, small mementos, each stitch in our shared life, laughing over old squabbles about trivial things like how to properly load the dishwasher. We realized how these threads, once sources of irritation, had woven us together and taught us compromise and enriched our pattern with resilience and color. So whether you're crafting with yarn or with words and actions, remember that each stitch counts. Each moment of connection is a thread in the larger tapestry of our lives together. Cherish the process, laugh at the mishaps, and don't shy away from fixing the errors. Because in the end, our relationships, just like our crochet projects, are unique masterpieces. Imperfect, quirky, and stitched together with love. Let's keep crafting and laughing. And maybe, just maybe, we'll figure out those crochet patterns one day. Thank you for sharing this time with me.
Wonderful. Thank you, Lucille. Yeah.